New York has famously brutal winters and it looks nothing like California. And yet, it is a top producer of wine in the United States. How is that so? Hey, what's up? It's Madeline Paquette from Wine Folly, and today we're diving into everything you need to know about New York wine. Let's take a look at this region, taste its wines, and discover New York's little secret. New York has around 35,000 acres of vineyards, which makes it about the same size as Oregon. If we back out to the state as a whole, you'll see there are 6 major growing areas and 11 official AVAs. The Finger Lakes relies on 11 glacial lakes to moderate extreme temperatures. We see everything from Riesling to Cabernet Franc planted alongside these lakes. Long Island has a maritime climate, moderated by the Atlantic Ocean. What's surprising is that the climate here is similar to Bordeaux, and thus we're going to find some great Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon, and definitely some blends. The Hudson River Valley receives Atlantic Ocean breezes up the river, and as you go north, it gets colder. So this is where we start to see more native and hybrid grape varieties like Civil Blanc and Noiret. The Great Lakes have many grape-growing sweet spots along Lake Erie and Niagara. We've seen some real potential with Pinot Noir along with Concord. Finally, Lake Champlain is a proving ground for cold climate wine varieties, which I need to talk a little bit more about. Of the 35,000 acres of vineyards in New York, nearly 30,000 are dedicated to native and hybrid varieties like Concord. You might have never heard of Concord before, but you know it. It's the peanut butter and jelly grape. It is a native Vitis labrusca species, and it's suited perfectly for New York's winters. It's actually what established the New York wine industry back in the early 1800s. If you want to know more about the wines of New York, Wine Folly has an incredible guide. You can find wines, discover the producers, and learn more about the region. Head over to winefolly.com. Here we have a selection of New York's popular wine styles: Riesling, Chardonnay, Cabernet Franc, and sparkling wine. Let's taste them to find out how New York's climate affects these wines. This is the 2020 Hermann J. Wiemer Riesling from Seneca Lake. Hermann J. Wiemer pioneered planting Vitis vinifera wines in the Finger Lakes since 1973. As the story goes, Wiemer saw cherries and peach trees planted alongside the lake, which was a clue that wine grapes could grow here. The winery has long been known for Riesling, which is basically the grape of Hermann J. Wiemer's homeland in the Mosel Valley in Germany. Color: pale straw. Nose: lime peel, green apple, rose petal, honey, petrol. Wow, lots of acidity on the palate, these tart fruit flavors, and this whiff of honey. In New York, you'll find a range of sweetness levels in Riesling, from bone dry to very sweet. If you don't see a sweetness indication on the front, check the back label. There's often a sweetness chart there. This is the 2020 Wagner Vineyards Reserve Chardonnay from Finger Lakes. Wagner Vineyards is another Finger Lakes pioneer, starting in 1979 and now farming 250 acres of grapes. They make all estate-grown wines. Color: pale gold. Nose: star fruit, green apple, vanilla bean, crushed rocks, hazelnut. This wine is very lean and green and has high acidity on the palate, but we can tell it was aged in oak because there's this nuttiness and creaminess that comes through on the finish. Chardonnay is another grape that can handle growing in a cool climate. When you find Chardonnay wines from cool climates like these, they tend to have more citrus and green apple flavors. Another thing that's interesting about this wine is it says it's estate bottled on the label. That means the producer controlled the grapes from the vineyards to the winery and into the bottle from start to finish, and the winery and the production happened in the same American viticultural area as is on the label. This is a great way to find high-quality wines from New York. This is the 2020 Hermann J. Wiemer Magdalena Vineyard Cabernet Franc from Seneca Lake. Color: medium ruby. Nose: sweet macerated cherry, red pepper flake, crushed gravel, raspberry, rose petal. Wow. On the palate, this wine has lifted acidity and an elegance. There is this tension between ripe fruit flavors and earthiness. And unlike California Reds, it's not super heavy on my palate and rich. It's lighter and brighter. In Long Island and the North Fork, there are many vineyards with Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot planted, making excellent, rich Bordeaux-style blends. And in the Finger Lakes along Seneca Lake and Cayuga Lake, these are the deepest lakes and they do not freeze in the cold winters, which allows these grapes to survive. This is the non-vintage Brut Nature sparkling wine by Sparkling Pointe in the North Fork of Long Island. Sparkling Pointe is a sparkling wine only house on Long Island with a winemaker from Champagne. And it's true that the climate in northern France is very similar to the climate in New York. And this producer grows only Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier, which is exactly what you would find in Champagne. Color: pale gold. Nose: green apple, marzipan, creme fraiche, crushed rocks, ginger. When we think about New York and this climate that they have here and how similar it is to northern France, it's no surprise that the sparkling wines can taste very remarkably similar. If you're looking for fine sparkling wines from New York, pay attention to how the wine is produced. There are several methods to make sparkling wine. This one is called Method Champenoise, or the traditional method, which makes the finest styles. As much as these wines are unique in both variety and style, together they have this vein of acidity and minerality that comes through from the region's glacial soils. Ultimately, this is the Terroir of New York and how you'll know it on your palate. I hope this video gives you confidence to explore the wines of New York, and for that, you're going to want to check out the New York Wine Region Guide, available at winefolly.com. There were more wines that I coulda, shoulda, woulda tasted. Let me know your favorites. I'll be watching for your notes in the comments below. And as always, if you love wine and want to learn more, subscribe. We've got more good juice coming your way. Until next time, happy tasting. Peace out.